Welcome to week one. It is January 9th, 2025. I'm your host, Bernard Ponder, and I'm co-hosted by the great owner of Certified Platinum Financial Service, Miss Sandra Burton. How you doing, Miss Burton?
Good evening, Mr. Ponder. I'm doing well. It is a pleasure to start off this new year with this new business development workshop. Very much needed. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, better than the manager. If I got any better, I'd be
Okay.
a twin.
Two of you.
Let's
One is
dive
enough.
in. Let's dive in. Listen, we back. It's a new year. It's a little cold. And I want to say this, right? Can we give some honor to what's going on in the community? Right?
Absolutely.
Big rest in peace to President Jimmy Carter being laid to rest today. Amazing service all day long, all week long. So as we begin, we want to give that to him and his family, right?
Absolutely.
Let's dive in, man. I'm super excited about this. This is our business development workshop. I'm Bernard Ponder of the Become Your Own CEO Personal and Business Development Practice. Sandra, what's your title? What you got going?
I'm the owner, CEO, CFO of Certified Platinum Financial Services. We're located in Decatur, Georgia. Been doing this thing called accounting, tax strategists, all this maybe going on. This actually going on the 29th year. So you can see where I have a little power and I definitely have a little leverage. On top of that, I have a lot of wisdom. So I'm excited to be here. I
Hey,
can't wait to go ahead and get this thing started.
hey, in my 13 years of doing business, I've always prayed for a tax and business advisor on the team. So being able to be blessed by God to actually connect with you, I know we're at the right place at the right time. So listen, this is week one, y'all. It's time to elevate your business with proven strategies for growth and success. As you guys heard, I'm Bernard Punter and we got Miss Sandra Burton. And today's conversation is all about accountability. If you are watching our replay, please write it down in the comment section just so we can know the time date that this message is reaching you, no matter if it's YouTube, Facebook, the Zoom link. Appreciate everybody who's actually here participating. We always look forward to promoting and talking highly about other business owners around us in our community so we can do a little bit more. All right. So, like I said, I'm the owner of Become Your Own CEO. And when I found the beautiful and amazing Miss Sandra Burton, it was a piece that was missing from my program that was started in 2016, right? So 2016, we're running up on about almost 10 years next year, right? 2005, yeah. So right now we're about at 9 years, and the 4 steps to becoming your own CEO was one of the things that my mentor told me many years ago. Give away your best stuff. And I've been trained by so many different entrepreneurs, business-minded women, and business-minded men all across the country. I paid hundreds and thousands of dollars for all the information I have in all my notebooks all across the world. And these 4 steps that I came up with were the things that I noticed that a lot of business owners had to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to break each one of these down over a 4-week course. Sandra, is it safe to say we're not going to do every month, are we?
No, it's every other month.
Every other month. So if we keep it simple, we just say every odd number month. Get ready on week one, week two, week three, week four to talk about each of these different subjects. Sandra, let's do this real quick. I like even numbers. Can you go ahead and tell them about the odd numbers? Can you take number one for us?
Absolutely. So the very first week, which is tonight, we're going to discuss identifying your accountability partners.
Okay.
Week
And
three.
number two, I got you. Number two is writing out your personal development plan for each week. You got it.
Week three, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to write our business development plan for the week.
Absolutely. And then week four, we're always going to dive a little bit deeper on each of these subjects. But week four is about mastering your system, which is steps 1 through 3. So let's dive in. What is a CEO? A CEO is a creative execution officer. That means that this person has created a service or a product. We're going to dive in on that. Sandra, what's number two?
Number two is the execution side of it, where we're going to discuss the financial side and the marketing side of the business.
Okay. Funding and promoting. All right. And number three is all about the options. Every single CEO who starts a product, starts a service, execute a financial plan to fund those, and starts a marketing plan to promote that always has a goal in mind. So if you're in the chat, write this in the chat. Keep the end in mind. Sandra, tell us, what is a business owner?
A business owner right now is, the way we look at it, you got to have somebody with you. So meaning that you got to have some type of system in place now that you can duplicate those services. So now you're not the only one doing the work. And that is where ultimately, if you are a small business entrepreneur, that's where you want to be, but it's not where you want to stay, if that makes sense. And I know we're going to discuss all of the quadrants above, but absolutely, that business owner, you did some investing, some learning, some teaching, and duplicated services. So now you are an owner. So absolutely.
Absolutely. So what you guys see on screen, you guys may see one name that may pop out to you. This guy's name is Robert Kiyosaki. In a time in my life where I had to sit down and actually focus on where my future will be, or where my current lifestyle would take me in my future, he told me that a business owner is a person who has people working with them to yield them income and cash flow. So one of the biggest things is, if anybody's a business owner, I always tell them, Sandra, is that you got to understand the 4 ways to produce income, right? We get in business to humbly make some money, and a lot of times to be able to walk away from our job so our money can make us money and we have time freedom to enjoy the both of them. See, Robert Kiyosaki said there's 2 main sides. It's either you're focusing on linear income, where 90% of the world is at, 95 really. But then the other side of that curve is leverage and residual income. And those are the things that we want to dive in a little bit more in with anybody who came to this business development workshop to grow your business. So let's take those terms. Leverage income and residual income. That's the goal. Residual income means you did something one time, but now you're getting paid over and over and over for the thing that you did one time. But leverage income is what business owners earn. Is that business owners earn leverage income because the first billionaire in the world was not the first millionaire, but he became the first billionaire, John Paul Getty, because he said, I'd rather earn 1% off of 100 other people's efforts than off 100% of my own. Because if anything ever happened to me, 99% of the work still gets done. So no matter if you're an employee, you're exchanging time for money, put this in your notes. Most employees have no leverage income and no residual income. Some people say that's one of the worst ways to get paid. Mainly, I know in Sandra's world, she say because they are taxed the highest. So some people find them a part-time hustle or grind and become self-employed. Self-employed people still exchange time for dollar bills, but now they have a residual stream of income. They may be selling water, lemonade, shirts, cupcakes, right? But they have no team to supply your need. Keep this in mind. A business owner is a person who has people working with them to yield them income and cash flow. And once you do that, you own your own system, is what Robert Kiyosaki taught many years ago, that leads most people to becoming an investor. Sandra, let's get ready for week 1. What you got?
Week 1 is all about that marketing accountability partner. See, this is so important because a lot of times when you're by yourself, you say you're going to do something, you may do it, you may not. However, with this marketing accountability person, he's going to make sure whatever we said in this meeting that it gets done. So that is very, very, very important. And most businesses, Bernard, believe it or not, they need that marketing accountability partner.
Absolutely. You got it.
And so the marketing accountability, there are 2 parts to it. One, you got to be able to create a system. You're going to use some acronyms around here. So system, we say it, save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. That alone right there for any business owner. See, when you're doing it by yourself, you're very stressed out, And of course, you cannot keep going to the next task because right now you're the only person doing those things. So in order to get out of that rut race, what we say is now go ahead and create the system now, because you'll be able to now do the ILT. Now, ILT is where we invest and you learn and you teach, because that is what's going to produce duplication. You just talked about John, pronounce his name.
I had an old brain part there as well. Uh,
Anyway, he's doing it, and he's doing it on somebody's 99% of effort. So if that's the case, then the duplication of whatever he taught them is the work is still getting done. So
John Paul Getty.
yes, yes. So that part, because life happens, life be lifing. So
Mhm.
the part of if you're truly running a business, go ahead and invest some time. Go ahead and get somebody taught now that the work is being done, with whether or not you're there or not. So absolutely.
I like that. And I want to always piggyback on this, and I want to take some time on this. You said step one is to identify your map. When I used to drive trucks across the country, they always gave me two types of maps. What
Yep.
does a map do? A map takes you from point A to point B. And I know I may need to slow down and give people this one more time, right? Let me back them up real quick. Y'all remember when I showed you guys this logo? See,
Okay.
in our case, your map actually help you go from your C through your E and get you over to your O, which is your options and opportunities, right? So, with that being said, Sandra said step one of becoming your own CEO, as far as a map, is to help you create a system, right? And the part of that system is we come back here and they say that a business owner is a person who have people working with you. Somebody in the comment section, right? I need a team. I need a team because I can't do every piece of the business by myself. If I'm running a business, I can't be the person who's actually making sure that the service is up to par. The products are getting better. The color looks good. The funding, the finances, the taxes, the debt, the investing looks good. The social media content looks good. The calendar. A person will run themselves ragged, wouldn't they, Ms. Burton?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Been there, done that.
So when I tell you guys everybody needs two types of maps, it's because of the word execution. And I want to give you guys some value in this as you go through this 2025 year to keep in mind execution has two major pieces. The two major pieces of executing a strategy, y'all, is number one, accountability of yourself. See, the thing is you're running a business, you know your products, you know your funding, you know your marketing, you know what goals you want. But if you don't hold yourself accountable to those things first, anybody else on any piece of your team who comes into place, they would never know what to do. They would never be as passionate to get to work at 9 o'clock on time and execute the strategies. Am I right?
Yeah.
So when we say this, there's two different types of maps. The first part is executing your accountability strategies on your own because you know what you got to do, right? But when you're a business owner, the second part, put this in your notes. The second part, I'm going to look at my E of executing the strategy is the follow up from three major sources. Number one, your accountability partner. Number two, it should be your team. And humbly, it's your creative team. The people who are helping you with the product, the people who are helping you with the services. Sandra, is it safe to say when you're working with people who started small businesses and they're scaling, sometimes people start businesses and they're not paying the employees. They're asking for volunteers to help them out, right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes when they start building that business and they get over to that C, now those creative people who really get good with the service and products, now those people are their employees. That's leveling up, CEO, right? But the third piece of the follow-up that has to do with executing your strategies, it has to come down to your system. And what Sandra said what ILT is, our job as a map, and here's the introduction of Ms. Burton, and which should be the first introduction into your business of execution, is your FAP. Your FAP is the person who is your financial accountability partner. There is no corporate company who does not have a full team of financial experts working on their behalf while the other team is creating better services and better products. Ms. Burton, I see your logo up there. What's it said? What does that say?
It's my company name, which is Certified Platinum Financial Services. But if I move to you see where it says your money is our business. So the part of any money, as far as what you're doing, you gotta be able to run it through a FAP because Mr. Partner, can you believe there are some companies that are so deep in the hole, they have not talked with a person of my nature to tell them that, hey, you're going in the wrong directions. Your financials are going in the wrong direction. If we could just kind of budget some things, cut some expenses, do some things with an expert eye, we could save them some stress, some time, some energy, and some money
Mm-hmm.
just by
Mm-hmm.
talking or consulting with someone of my nature. So absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So I want you guys to see the blessing of what I'm saying is when I was blessed to be in the presence of a Miss Burton who has over 27, 8 years of experience in tax and business advising, the E is what I was missing. I had studied from so many people on the first part of showing people that you got to find you a passion product. Sometimes once you find your passion product, you need an affiliate product too that supports the main service. This is why we say focus on the C, the service and the product. But now once you know what your numbers is, what the range is, what's your low ticket offer, what's your high ticket offer of your product and service. This is the development, y'all. Think about your business in 2025. Do you have a high range for your products? Do you have a low range offer? See, the thing is Miss Burton, is that a lot of people don't grow their businesses because they stay one track minded, right? Some people are on linear actually movement when a lot of times in business is circular. Business is supposed to continuously go because sometimes if they go straight and that one plan doesn't work, they out of business.
Yep.
And not knowing if they do this and then come back over here and do this and then do this, everything still works together for its good. That's why it's called a system. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely.
So to wrap this up, is that when I was driving trucks, they gave me a one map that showed me streets and highways, just like the presidential for Jimmy Carter's president thing today. They took a lot of highways, but they also had one, they took the plane too, right? They had different routes that they can take. But the other map that they gave me showed me terrain. It showed me hills. It showed me plateaus. Is it safe to say sometimes in a business, you're going to have to jump over the river? You're going to have to climb that mountain to get to that option that you're really grinding for, right?
Mhm.
So the map, you can't just have a map. You guys got to have a FAP. That's what a CEO is. A person who has a financial team and a marketing team. So, Ms. Burton, is it safe to say Nike got a financial department?
Absolutely.
Google has a financial and a marketing department, right?
Yep.
So we're gonna copy a business, we might as well copy the right cat. All right. So with that being said, these are a few things that we actually looked at that when you're talking about diving into the checkpoints, the things you should hold yourself accountable to first, right? And what your team is actually going to have to focus on when delegating. I want somebody to write that in the chat. Because as a CEO, you don't do every piece of the business. That's why you have a team. That's why he said, I'd rather earn 1% off of 100 other people's efforts than off 100% of my own. These key aspects is something that we together looked at and said, these are the things that first, if you truly want to scale your business, these are some of the things you should be held accountable to, right? Number one, like we talked about, Ms. Burton, financial responsibilities, ethical practices. I love companies who talk about SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. 3, customer satisfaction. 4, employee well-being. 5, strategic planning. 6, time management. 7, brand and reputation management. 8, legal compliance. Number 9, sustainability and social impact. And number 10, personal growth and development. You know, that's one of my favorite. Sandra, as I was reading that, I had one or two that stepped out to me. I know customer satisfaction and employee well-being was one of the two that kind of stuck out to me. Did anyone maybe step out to you?
Of course, number one, financial responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run a business unless that part is met. I want to go ahead and touch on legal compliance.
Okay.
There are a lot of businesses that, when it comes on the financial side, the federal, that's our EIN number, the state, which is the Secretary of State, and then there's some local where you actually have to have a local, like we're in DeKalb, tax compliance as well. That is the foundation. Do you believe it or not? There are so many people that I speak to that have been in business for years, don't even realize the Secretary of State exists. So
Yes.
when we talk about a legal compliant of a business, let's get those in order and let's work our way up. So that's the first thing. What I always stop, and I always, no matter who the business is, let me see that paperwork. And that is a start. Now we can build up to other things because technically, if you don't have the state Secretary of State, you're legally not in business.
Wow. One of the
Absolutely.
things when I met you that I want to pin on this. I want to put a pin on this with you. In legal compliance, one of the first things you told me was like your background. You started in corporate America doing accounting. Am I correct?
Yep. Yep.
And you said something in your story to the place of they stuck you in a different department where you had to focus on looking at the finances and making sure that they were audit proof. Can you
Right.
talk on the standpoint of any about your story and which as when we talk about you guys need to talk to your FAP first for different reasons when it comes to audit proof because of legal compliances.
Absolutely. So the we're talking now on a business development side. In order to have a true business, I always say sometimes you have to go back to the basics.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to the basics and we make sure on the federal side, okay, legal structure. Is a structure. I talk to so many people on a daily basis. I don't know if I'm an LLC. I don't know if I'm a partnership. I don't know if I'm an S corp. Let's look at that. Let somebody of my nature tell you what's the comparison. Why should you, why do you have an LLC? Why you should have an S corp? So the business,
Mm.
this is how it's developing. If I hear you have big dreams to grow this business, then guess what? Let's sit down. Let's start talking about some entity. Let's talk about some branches. Let's see how now you create another side of, like you're saying, the affiliate product. If you're going to go and you have a service based, but now you want to create products, what does that look like for your business? So now we're opening up a whole nother can when it comes down to legal compliance. So now do you realize, matter of fact, Mr. Ponder, do you know in the state of Georgia, if you do decide to start selling products, now from a legal standpoint, now that opens up where you have to pay sales and use taxes.
I didn't know that until I met you.
Right. So now we got to apply for sales and use tax ID. So there are so many levels. I meet people where now you're charging people sales and use tax and you're using that as a handling fee. No, legally, if you hand me a receipt and you say this is sales and use tax, you have to report that to the state agency. So when you talk about legal compliance as a business, and you said yourself, a lot of people bypass me when they start their business. So
Right.
imagine bypassing me and you're doing, like you're saying, you're in business, you're self-employed. You're doing the marketing when it's time to now file the taxes on this business, you're doing it. Nobody has not done anything. 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, now guess what? It's grown, and you need help because you're outdone all these tasks. And then you get to someone like me, and I'm like, oh my God, you've been in business all these years, you don't have this, you don't have this. Now we're trying to backtrack and get you caught up. And believe it or not, there are some things on the legal side, on the federal side, you will pay a good penny when it comes down to penalty and interest. So that legal compliance part of that, that's very important. That's very
I'm glad
important.
that was on there.
Absolutely.
And I hear you say, and we're gonna move on to the one next one, is that people talk about legal compliance, and you said they bypass you, is what you said, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes they'll go maybe straight to the Secretary of State. Hey, I paid $100. Hey, I got my name on my business, but now they have no, like I was saying before, SOP, no standard operating procedures, no system in place. Now it's I got a Bernard's water business, right? But now they don't have no system to get to no goals. I know a guy named Eric Ward. He has a book called The 90-Day Game Plan. He said pre-lunch as long as possible, right? Sometimes you need to actually practice a whole lot, right? And see what works, what doesn't work before you even go sign your name on some of that paperwork. And before you get yourself in some legal compliance, test it out for 90 days just to see how promoting it is before you dive right in. Before you talk to a Sandra, whatnot, practice a little bit, right? So definitely good stuff on that legal compliance. Thank you. I like, me, I'm big, and this next week, this is gonna, number 10 says personal growth and development. I've always been the younger brother or whatever. It's like always mature, mature, mature. And we always hear people talk about self-care and things of that nature. I cannot wait for you guys to hear what we're gonna dive into next week with week 2. I told you guys in the beginning, it's all about writing out your personal development plan. If you fail to plan, you plan on failing, and nobody wants to actually do that. Let's look at one more, and then we're going to get out of here. I like financial responsibility, ethical practices, customer satisfaction, employee well-being, strategic planning. It's so many different things that people need to do in business. So it's like I want to hit on like weekly meetings. As a financial accountant, do you think it's important for them to do weekly meetings or weekly trainings to focus on the development of their company so it can get better?
Funny you said that. One of the things you just said that my first department fresh out of school was audit. When you talk about employee well-being or you talk about all of them, 1 through 10,
Mm-hmm.
do you realize right now training it should be aligned on everybody's tax return? I don't care if you're selling phone cases and those are $5 each.
Right.
Do you realize once that Schedule C or whatever that comes aboard, then there needs to be some form of training, even if it's Mr. Ponder, even if it's an online training like
Right.
we're doing now.
Right. Right. Right.
We've already talked about this summer. For those of you that are listening, we're going to do mid-year some training. So if you attend that training by law, by default, the IRS will see where there was a paid training and it says, okay, you're selling phone cases. Okay, you must be attempting to get some type of training to scale your business, to grow your business. So that is one thing. Matter of fact, put that in the chat. Get some form of training on your line as far as expenses. And then not only that, guess what, Mr. Ponder? It goes 2 ways. Hopefully, whatever training you actually attended, you learned something. So now you're able to, this time next year, when we're talking about financial responsibilities, now whatever training that was, it enabled you to actually scale your business and grow your business. Because that's what this workshop is about, business development. So if you're developing your business through training, that the IRS, even the state loves to see that line item.
Good, 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 good. So I think even if in conclusion, the best thing is if week 1 is all about identifying your map. And I love to tell them too, FAP. It was always map alone before I found them, Ms. Burton. But you got to have both plans. You really need to get your finances in order first. And then we start working on marketing. This is why I tell you guys week 1 and 3 are like brother and sister or husband and wife, because we're going to dive deeper in week 3 of this training course about what it looks like when it comes to marketing. Like, what are your options when it comes to marketing? What are your options when it comes to investing and with your FAP? So we're going to dive in really deep on week 3. So I hope you guys get a chance to be a part of that live so we can actually get some of your questions answered and give you some deep dives on some of those things as well. All right. So with that being said, we're not here just to share some information with you guys. This is always a free event, but we want to actually dive a little bit deeper for those people who are serious about scaling their business and actually doing something, maybe replacing your job income. That was one of my first goals, was to replace my job income so that I would never have to depend on a job just to be able to live life, right? I've always been told that employees either have money with no time or they have time with no money. The only way you get these two things in order is to move up from the E to the S, become an entrepreneur, and then move from an entrepreneur to a true business owner. So what we want to offer you guys is a free one-on-one strategy session with either your FAP, Ms. Sandra Burton, or myself, MAP, depending on where you are. If you're brand new, I say, hey, look, let's make sure that you got a good handheld on your finances first. If you're one of those people who are already maybe a little bit more advanced and you're ready to go, you actually can schedule that MAP session with myself. no matter who you are, because we get your email, we'll send you guys over our full 4 steps we utilize in our businesses. Because Ms. Burton has a few businesses outside of just that. I have a few as well that help you become a true business owner, having time and money and balance. We always encourage people to join our private Facebook group called Creative Execution Officers, because everybody who's a business owner has a creative service. They're executing strategies for options. So we wanted you guys to join us in that community so you can network with like-minded people as well. Can you tell them about our inner circle?
Absolutely. The CEO Inner Circle, this is where you want to be, because what happens is we're going to give you a full team of financial and marketing experts. Not just one, you're going to get both. On top of that, you're going to get monthly one-on-one strategy sessions to discuss everything that we've been talking about. On top of that, free sponsorship promotion to our events. And last but not least, weekly private group training. See, this is definitely where you want to be, because this is a lot of networking. You get like-minded people, you get brainstorming, and you really get to be yourself and ask those hard questions sometimes where you can't ask. Mm-hmm. And it's no shame in this inner circle private group, because guess what? All of us are there to grow. So this CEO Inner Circle, you know what, Mr. Ponder, this is exactly where you want to be.
Big facts. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next Thursday, January 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We always open the Zoom up 10 minutes before the hour, and we like to stay on the Zoom 10 minutes at least after hour, just to answer anybody's questions, to make sure that with this call was most valuable for anybody with the professionals that we have here on this line. Like we said before, next week's subject will be personal development. It is time for you to elevate your business with proven strategies and growth and success. Ms. Burton, where can they find us at?
You can actually follow, I'm at Instagram at CPF Services. Mr. Ponder is at the CEO Map on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Facebook, it's spelled all the way out, Certified Platinum Financial Services. And you can find him, Become Your Own CEO, all spelled out as well. So if you can, go ahead and take a screenshot and then go to those social media services and type in it, you'll see those pictures and things like that.
Absolutely. And don't forget our entrepreneur pages on Facebook, Bernard Punter and Sandra Burton. Actually, your name's Sandra B on there. But we look forward to actually learning more about yourself, your vision for your business, and seeing how we can find some alignment and collaborate over the year, the month, the weeks, and definitely each quarter, one step at a time. Ms. Burton, thank you again for being the co-host and being amazing in the skills and the things that you do. This is week 1 of our business development workshop. And we see you guys next week, same time, same channel. See you guys soon.